How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, February 13th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to do an elite individual profile for Memphis Depay. The elite Dutch forward for Barcelona is turning 28 today. And of course, with this episode, my intention is, of course, to zoom in and look at how his day-to-day, his game-to-game stats are affecting the unit that he's on, how he's able to keep his position in a league where you have hundreds of thousands of professional athletes, top of the line, people in really tip-top shape competing for the same very few finite positions. And I'm going to zoom out and look at where he's been playing, how he's been able to impact his team and even the sport on a macro level, even where he's been competing with the Dutch national team, as he has been playing with the Dutch national team since 2013, ever since he was a teenager. And if you're not familiar with Memphis Depay, he stands at about 5'9". He's a little stocky. He's a very smart player, but I think his best quality is his poise. I don't think he shrinks in any moment, and I think that he doesn't get flustered. I don't think he overthinks a lot of moments. He does the little things right, and slowly and surely, season by season, putting in the work is most definitely yielding results. And as of right now, he is getting some serious playing time for one of the greatest soccer franchises to ever exist. So, just to give a little bit of background, he's originally from Moordrecht, Netherlands. He would find his way on the PSV Eindhoven team, which is renowned as one of the better Dutch teams in the nation. They're a team that regularly competes in the Champions League out of the Netherlands, and only one or two teams, if they're lucky, usually do, and Eindhoven's usually one of the teams. He would go on to make his debut for Eindhoven in 2011 when he was just a 17-year-old. In that season in the Dutch league, he would only play 8 games in a season where they finished third in the Dutch league. They would finish in the round of 16 in Europa League as well. Following his debut season, he would find himself competing for more time in the roster. In his age 18 season in 2012-2013, he would start only 2 of the 20 matches that he would play for a PSV Eindhoven team that would finish second in the Dutch league. However, in this particular season, they would make it to the group stage of Europa League. That would be where they got eliminated. He would play 5 games in Europa League that season, as he actually added a couple of assists. Not to mention that in the Dutch league himself, as a teenage forward for one of the best Dutch teams in the nation, he would finish with 2 goals and 3 assists, as he was proving to be one of the better young, bright Dutch talents. In 2013, he would go on to make his very first appearance for the international team. He made it in October, going into his 3rd season with Eindhoven, but he would eventually find his way coming back to Eindhoven to be a full-time starter. In his first season as a full-time starter as a 19-year-old in 2013-2014, he would start all 32 of the games in a season where Eindhoven finished 4th in the Dutch league. However, within that season, he finished with 12 goals and 7 assists. Mind you, this is the season that he started when he was just a teenager going in. Eindhoven wasn't doing particularly well that season, as they would get knocked out in the playoff round in Champions League, and they would get knocked out of the group stage in Europa League. However, looking at how Memphis Depay was able to increase across the board, he scored his very first Champions League goal as well as his very first Champions League assist. He was able to add a Europa League goal and an assist, not to mention that he did make his debut for the Netherlands, and once that season came to an end and he was not able to pick up a trophy with either team except for the Dutch Super Cup for the year, he would go on to be named as one of the members for the World Cup in 2014 in Brazil. And in 2014, that would be the last year that the Dutch team has actually made the World Cup, or at least I think they're going to make this upcoming World Cup. I'm not completely sure. But once they went into that matchup, he would actually score both of his World Cup goals in group stage. They would win their first matchup against Spain 5-1. In their second matchup, they beat Australia 3-2 as Memphis Depay scored goal number 3. In their third group stage matchup, they beat Chile 2-0 as Memphis Depay scored the second goal of that one. Once the Netherlands made it through, they would make it to the round of 16 where they would beat Mexico 2-1. In the quarterfinals, they would end up drawing 4-3 on penalties versus Costa Rica. And in the semifinal matchup, the Netherlands would end up losing on penalty kicks to Argentina, who ended up losing in the final to Germany. But once they made it to the third place game, the Netherlands would end up beating Brazil as the Netherlands won that game 3-0, so they were able to take home a medal. So Memphis Depay was a very big contributor for that Dutch team, and this was just while he was entering his 20s. I don't think many people give him a lot of credit for what he was able to do for so young. And following that season, he would go on to return to PSV Eindhoven for what would be his fourth and final season playing in the Netherlands. In his age 20 season in 2014-15, he would start all 30 of the games he played in a season where Eindhoven won the Dutch league. This would be the first time they had won it since 2008, so it was very big for them. They would get knocked out of the round of 32 in Europa League, which was better than group stage from the year before. In his final season there, Memphis Depay finished with 22 goals and 5 assists. He would go on to be the top leader in the Dutch league. That is the only league that he's ever led in scoring really to date. And of course, to be able to leave the Netherlands as the Dutch champ before he went on to play for bigger clubs in different countries. He would still go on to finish with his career high in domestic goals, his 22 goals. He's not scored more in another season, and he was able to add his 5 assists doing what he was doing so well. Following his 4 seasons there, he would go on to get moved to Manchester United, and he would go on to play 2 seasons with the Manchester United Football Club. In his very first season there in 2015-16, he would start 16 of the 29 games he played in a season where Manchester United would finish 5th in the Premier League. In the Premier League itself, Memphis Depay would go on to finish with 2 goals in the 29 games he played. I guess in some instances, many people saw him as underperforming in a sense. In those 29 games he played, Manchester United would go on to win the FA Cup. However, they would beat Crystal Palace 2-1, as that would be the trophy that Manchester United would take home, as they lost in the round of 4 in the Football League Cup, and they lost in the round of 16 once they got relegated to the Europa League. Following that 2015-16 season, the Netherlands team would actually miss the Euros, and he would go into his second and last season with Manchester. He would only play 4 games before getting moved to Lyon, Olympique Lyonnais in France. Because he just wasn't getting playing time in Manchester United, and Lyon definitely wanted him. Lyon would take them off of Man U's hand, as the transfer fee was about 16-17 million euros. Memphis Depay's very first season in Lyon would be that same season, his age 22 season. He would play 17 games in Ligue 1, where the Lyonnais team would finish 4th in the entire league. The closest they got to winning a trophy was making it to the Super Cup and the Trophée des Champions, where they ended up losing to PSG. Taking a look at how Memphis Depay fared in those games, he finished with 5 goals and 6 assists in the Ligue 1 games, as he was proving himself he was starting to get his feet right back under him for that team, and he was also able to add a couple goals in international friendlies. And following this season, he would come back for his first full season with Lyonnais, his age 23 season in 2017-2018. He started 28 of the 36 games he played for a Lyonnais team that would finish 3rd in the entire Ligue 1. They were moving just a slight tick upwards. They were able to make it to the round of 16 of the Europa League, as they couldn't make it to the title race for any of the domestic cups. But in that Ligue 1 season, Memphis Depay was able to finish with 19 goals and 13 assists, which is the first time he would put up double-digit goals in the Ligue 1. This would be the second or the third time he put up double-digit goals in a domestic league. First time he's done it since the Netherlands. And his 9 assists would be a career high for him, as well as even his 28 combined scoring plays would be more than his last season at PSV Eindhoven. Following that season, he would see Netherlands not compete in 2018 for the World Cup because they missed it. But he would return for his second full season at Lyonnais in his age 24 season in 2018-2019. He would start 29 of the 36 matches he played in a season where Lyonnais finished third in France again. He would go on to finish with double-digit assists for the first time, as he also had 10 goals. The first season he would ever put up 10 goals and 10 assists in a domestic season. He would play 8 matches in a Champions League run that saw Lyonnais fall on aggregate to Barcelona in the round of 16. But in those games, he finished with a goal and 4 assists. And he would go on to add a goal and an assist in the 2 Coupe de France matches he played as well. Following this 2018-19 season, he, of course, would return to Lyonnais for his third full season there. And in his age 25 season in 2019-20, he would start 12 of the 13 games he played in a season where Lyonnais would finish 7th in France. However, because the season was actually pushed back, he was able to catch the end of a lot of tournaments. And even though Lyon finished 7th in Ligue 1, Memphis Depay within the season, he was able to finish with 9 goals and 2 assists in those very few games he played. He would go on to help them in their Coupe de la Ligue. That would see Lyonnais make it all the way to the final stage. In the final, they ended up losing on penalty kicks to PSG. They made it to the semifinals of the Coupe de France, which is the French domestic cup. And in the semifinals of Champions League, they would end up losing to Bayern Munich, who would end up beating Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final. And Memphis Depay would be present for most of their ascent to the top of this hill. And this transitions into Depay's 5th and final season and his fourth full season with the Lyonnais club. He would go on to start 33 of the 37 matches he played in a season where Lyon finished with the 4th best record in Ligue 1. He would finish with 20 goals and 12 assists, which would be the most goals and assists he would put together in a Ligue 1 season. His 32 combined goals would be the first time he would ever put together at least 30 within a domestic season, even in the 37 games he played. His 8 penalty kicks would be the most penalty kick goals that he would finish a season with. Not to mention, he was able to score in a quarterfinal run in the Coupe de France that saw them lose 2-0 to Monaco. But this would be Memphis Depay's final season. But he would go on to lead the Ligue 1 in assists for the entire season, as he did not lead the Ligue 1 in goals. I believe a PSG player did it by the name of Kylian Mbappe. And following that 5th and final season with the Lyonnais Football Club, he would join up with Barcelona going into the 2021-22 season. He joined them in June, and after he would join, he would really kind of get started away, because this is right after Barcelona had lost a lot of... This was after Barca had let Messi walk, because Memphis Depay was looking forward to playing with Messi, but Barcelona couldn't afford to keep Messi on the team, and a lot of other things went down, and they even had to change their coaches. But so far in this season, he started 15 of the 16 games he's played for a Barcelona team that, as of the moment, is sitting 4th in La Liga. They've had a bit of a rough start to the season, as they still sit behind, or at the moment they still sit pretty comfortably behind Real Madrid, but they are still 4 points behind third place Real Betis. And because they were unable to make it through group stage, Barcelona is going to be competing in Europa League this season. So of course, I'll be looking forward to seeing how Barcelona makes it through there, but that is everything I have for you as it leads up to this current moment. As this season, he's playing a very solid season, doing what he can to help or to help Barcelona really stay afloat. Not to mention that he's played 10 World Cup qualification matches for the Netherlands, and he scored 12 goals and added 6 assists. That's 18 scoring plays in those 10 matches, but is really giving a sense that Memphis Depay is definitely a player at his height, definitely as a striker or as a forward representing the nation of the Netherlands. And just following this, I really want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. I do want to thank the Footy Stats, the Football Reference website, and the Wikipedia pages that I needed, even the FIFA, La Liga, and the Dutch League websites, even the Premier League, for giving me all the facts and figures, because I wouldn't be able to do it without them. And if you ever get a chance to watch Memphis Depay, he currently wears number 9 for FC Barcelona. If you guys don't know what number 9 means, it means that he has a very secure position on this team as an attacker moving forward, because they definitely have some trust in his abilities. Thanks once again for listening to this piece. I hope all is well. Once all of today's exhibitions, matchups, and Olympic events are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Monday, February 14th, on Valentine's Day. But thanks once again for listening. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. And thanks for listening. Hopefully I'll have more to say about Memphis Depay next year. Peace out.